Welcome to Everyday Persian. Today we're going to make a really special dish called Kashke Bademjan. It's a month of May, and I love the month of May because it's my wedding anniversary month. My lovely husband and I have been married for 11 years, and May 6th is our wedding anniversary. So I decided to make him one of his favorite Persian dishes called Kashke Bademjan. Cooking ingredients today include eggplant. These are Italian eggplants. You can find them anywhere at grocery stores, Trader Joe's, Vons, or just general market. If you go to farmer's market, you can always find them there. They're fresh, they taste good that way, and they're not bitter. For condiments, you need a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of really high quality saffron. Now you can find saffron at Trader Joe's, but I recommend generally Middle Eastern stores have really high quality saffron that you can get for not so expensive. Also, for garnish, you need these guys, which is about 1/4 or 1/2 teaspoon of really good olive oil, chopped white onions. It's better if you use white because of the scent and the fragrance. You can use any other kind that's available to you, but I rather have white. Freshly cut mint. Now, where can you find mint? Some people grow it in their garden, but you can also find it at general grocery stores. They're all come in packs. Just make sure it's fresh and it's not dried. If it's dried, when you fry it, it turns very brittle and bitter. So it has to be fresh. Now over here, we will need a small frying pan for garnish, medium frying pan for frying the eggplants, and then we need a large Pyrex for putting the eggplants and then cooking them in the oven. So it has to be Pyrex or oven proof. Don't forget that. And the shape, it doesn't matter. I like this shape. Also, we need eggplant peeler or just a regular peeler. Really good knife that you can chop things with, and just a spatula. So our dish today, it's not only the eggplant that we're using, it also has a very special ingredient that you can only find it at Middle Eastern stores, and it's called kashke. It's a cheese that's been dried and fermented, and it's really delicious, but you can't really eat it by itself. You have to add some water to it, dilute it, and then add it to your meal. But I find this brand, which is it's written in Farsi, but it's called geometric. I don't know why they call it geometric, but the actual cheese, it's called kashke. So it's easy for you to go to a store, a Persian store, and say, I need some kashke. And they say, oh, here it is in the freezer. You can go find it. I kind of scooped it out. It looks like ice cream, but it's kind of pungent and sour. But you'll see how we're incorporating this into the dish. It's one of the main ingredients of Kashke Bademjan, which is made of kashke plus bademjan. Kashke, bademjan. You mix these together, you get the dish we're going to make today. All right, let's get started. So the first step in making Kashke Bademjan is to cut and peel all of your eggplants, and you need to make sure you cut them horizontally because you lay them next to each other on the Pyrex pan that later I'll show you. So here's the eggplant. First thing I want to do is I'm going to get my peeler and then start peeling all the basic, the brown parts. If there are little bits and pieces left, that's okay. I kind of like that. The look is kind of cute, and also it gives a little bit extra flavor because the skin of eggplant does have some flavor. So I peel the eggplant, then I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to keep the top on because that also has really good flavor. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut it like this, horizontally. I'll show you. Like this. You see, it doesn't matter how thin, how thick, but it's just going to cook anyways. So you're going to do this with all of your eggplant, maybe about a pound or half a pound of eggplant, depending on how many people you have. I generally have a lot of people always eating lunch with us, so I like to buy extra, and then also it tastes really well as a leftover. So you can easily save it for next few days as a prep meal for people who like those keto diets and different diets. This is a really good option because it's very flavorful vegetable that you can eat with salad. You can just eat it by itself. It's really good. So here we go. As you see, I cut the eggplant into little thin slices, and then next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of salt to the eggplant, and you season it. Usually eggplant absorbs a lot of salt, so you might want to just have extra in hand. And then next step is you're going to fry it in a frying pan. I'm going to just do that aside, and I'll show you what the finished product is. But basically heat the pan, add the olive oil, add the eggplant, and fry. You're going to fry it to a point that it's kind of brown on the outside. It doesn't have to be overcooked because later you will put it in the oven for a good 30 minutes. So it will cook there. Right now you just want to fry the outside of the eggplant. Just like how you braise lamb or some other kind of meat that you're cooking, usually you do that ahead of time. You kind of fry it and then you pop it in the oven. Same process for the eggplant. So we'll be right back with just in a few minutes with fried eggplants, and I'll show you how it's done. So we got the eggplants. We're going to lay them in the boiling oil, and that's the idea. I like to add a little bit extra salt to it. If you see, like that. Eggplants usually take a lot of oil, so have extra oil handy. So do you see how the color changes and you get some fried part? That's the delicious part. You want to keep that because that gives it extra flavor, and your dish will taste so much better, and it takes a blandness out of eggplant. And we are going to get ready for the garnish, and to do the garnish is you get this small pan, you add the half a cup of olive oil to it, and then once the oil is hot, you add all the chopped onions, followed by all your peppermint. That's diced, not so finely, kind of like white diced, so you don't want it to be all too thin, because I like it chunky. So after you fry the eggplants, I place them on a piece of a paper towel just to get the extra oil out, and it's time to kind of organize everything in a Pyrex dish and place it in the oven. You have to turn on your oven ahead of time and reheat it 400 degrees for about a good 5 minutes so that it's hot and ready to cook. Now I'm getting the kashke. This is the cheese, and it's very thick, so you have to dilute it with a little water. You can use warm water, but it really doesn't matter. If you use just regular water, it's fine. You kind of work it through and make it a little bit looser, kind of liquid stage, not so much solid. So you're gonna turn this around, make sure it's, there you go. Now it's happening. And there. So you see it's kind of turning into a nice sauce. That's what this kashke is used for. It's more of a sauce that your eggplant will cook in. A little bit more water I need here. Perfect. This looks good. All right, so you put the kashke aside, and then get your Pyrex dish, place the eggplant side by side, all over this dish. This Pyrex is a little bit larger, but it doesn't matter, it still does the job. So you kind of put them next to each other. It'll look something like this. And then you're gonna pour a little bit of kashke over this and place it in the oven in a few. So after 35 minutes, after you cook your eggplant in the oven, 400 degrees for 35 minutes, you pull it out of the oven and just leave it outside for a little bit to cool down. But one thing I forgot to tell you was that before you place your eggplant in the oven, you add the condiment like the saffron on top, the turmeric and the salt and the pepper. Just scatter it all on the top of it. You can also add it later because your platter is so hot that all of that works together and it tastes really good. So if you look here, I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like. Okay. You see how everything's cooked well and combined together? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to place all of the eggplant in a nice plate because it's just too hot to eat it this way. So one by one, you kind of nicely place it. Look how beautiful this looks. Cooked well, tasty. Here we go. I'm going to move this aside. Now, before you serve your food, make sure it looks nice and clean. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get the fried onions and fried peppermint and scatter it on the top. That's the crunchy garnish that you're going to end up with. Here's the final product, eggplant garnished with fried onions, fried mint. You can pair it with some shallot yogurt, garnished with dill and some Persian bread, and ready to eat. Why don't you guys join us?